And then the kind of the big point of the whole night happens, and that's the preference poll in the U.S. Senate race. This is for the purpose of electing county assembly delegates. And we take a preference poll so that we know that the delegates we elect to the county assembly, the proportion between the two candidates, or three candidates technically, between the three candidates, and I'll explain why we have a third candidate, a shadow candidate, in a second, so that the delegates we elect are representative of those who elected them. You know, you can take a poll, but if only Romanoff supporters raise their hand and want to be delegates, that would be unfair to the half of the precinct, let's say, that voted for another candidate. So that's why we take a poll. Now, as you'll see in a second, there's some thresholds you have to meet to be eligible to get delegates. And that's one of the reasons why it might be a good idea to have an informal straw poll. And that's kind of a vote you take before you take the real vote, just to get an idea of where everybody stands. You don't have to do it. It's not required by the rules, but it's something you can do if you want to kind of see where everybody stands, and if there's people in there that want to see if their choice is going to even meet threshold.
Dan, does it matter if you do it, when you do it? I mean, does it have to be done, like, say, at the beginning, before you elect your chair, or?
I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually go down the agenda that you'll have. This is actually the order that you'll have on your agenda. So this would be right after the election of the chair and the secretary.
Okay.
It should generally be
the time when you do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't jump around the agenda if everybody wanted to, other than the fact that if you have a caucus that runs long, it's very important to the state party, and I think probably to both campaigns, that we get these results out as fast as possible. And if this is done early enough, someone can run in the room and grab those results while you're still working on the rest of your meeting. That's the only reason why you might want to do this earlier. But again, there really shouldn't be a whole lot of reason for you to move things around on the agenda. I can't think of a whole lot of reasons, a whole lot of good reasons. You're also a lot of precincts can also choose to have arguments for and against, let's just say for their individual candidates. You may want to have an open discussion. I'm supporting so-and-so because of this. And the next person, I agree with you, and I'm supporting so-and-so because of this. And the next person, I like what you have to say, but I'm actually supporting the other guy for this reason. And again, there's no structure to how you do that. You can the whole group, and this is really a consensus decision, the whole group there that night can decide, I just want to hear one person from each campaign. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear everybody talk. I didn't come here to hear everybody talk. I know what I'm going to do. I don't want to hear anybody. You can decide, I don't want to hear anybody, let's just vote and get this over with. Or you can say, I want to hear what everybody has to say.
What about the time limit on that discussion?
Again, this is so informal in terms of these kinds of rules, that those are the rules that you would make up there on the spot. And those, it sounds kind of loosey-goosey, but in reality, when you get everybody in a room, you're going to be able to make these decisions pretty easily. I mean, you're going to be able to come up with some sort of consensus pretty easily on, I agree, we shouldn't have more than a couple minutes per person, or nobody should be speaking more than once, those kinds of things, if they come up. But again, those are the rules that you'll need to set if you want to. You don't even need to bring it up, but if you want to set those would be the rules you would set there in that meeting on that night. Those are not rules that are in that packet in any way. Okay? I actually had this where it says no secret ballots. I don't think that's true this year. I think actually the delegate selection plan has gone back to the old rules, where if one person demands a secret ballot, everybody has to vote in a secret ballot. The default is that you vote in an open ballot. Now in 2008, we changed that rule because the DNC required us to change that rule to prohibit secret ballots. But this year, I think we've gone back to the old delegate selection plan, which does allow for secret ballots. And if there's someone there here who wants to correct me on that, please feel free to, but I'm pretty sure that's the rule now. And that was the rule before 2008 as well. If someone requests a secret ballot, it becomes a little more complicated in terms of math and electing delegates, but you can get through those things. I also want to point out Pueblo, Adams, and Broomfield are completely screwy. So if you're from Pueblo County or Adams County or Broomfield County, my apologies to you, but forget everything I just said. They do things very strangely in those counties because they use an arcane, well, I wouldn't say arcane, they use a different method whereby they elect delegates to the state assembly directly from the precinct caucus. They kind of leapfrog the county assembly. And in those counties, you might have some people really pressuring you to vote uncommitted as opposed to voting for Romanoff or Bennett. They may be pressuring you to vote uncommitted. Be aware that you are entitled to vote for whomever you want in Adams and Pueblo and Broomfield, regardless of what some leader of the party tells you. They still have to take a preference poll, and if uncommitted gets all the delegates, they do. If it's split between candidates, they have to deal with it that way, and that's. I honestly couldn't give you all the details of what could happen in Adams and Broomfield and Pueblo if there's a three-way split for one delegate going to the state assembly from a precinct.